So welcome in everyone from MPAP's run of Fred's Cool Punch-Out 2 Turbo. Hope that run went well. Hope it was an enjoyable one to watch. I'm sure it was. But today I am joined by Synthicon9 and say g'day. How you going? Pretty good, pretty good. We just did this beautiful monologue, you know, it's well-written speech prepared by, you know, the consulting committee of speeches, and we didn't get to hear it. But here we are, doing a Leon A standard 120 FPS run of Resident Evil 2 Remake. Today, we are going to find out whether this is going to be the best run of my life, or whether this game is truly the bane of my existence. But let's see how we go. I will be matching donations for the duration of this run up to a total of $100. So if we get to $100, I will donate $100 or whatever we get to. So be sure to get involved, because this run is either going to be full of memes and exciting moments, or just exciting moments. And I've also been given enough time to do a tofu run. So if we don't get a whole boatload of resets, then, which we shouldn't, then we can do a tofu run. So with that said, let's make a start. This is on standard difficulty, by the way. Since, did you just want to explain maybe the difference between standard and hardcore?
And then when you get into hardcore, you can pretty much, like, hardcore is insane. Like, you have to know the game like the back of your hand. Like, one zombie can take you down from, like, you know, from being full health to zero pretty damn quickly. You can get memed real hard. You've also, like, it's more classic survival horror where you have to manage your ammo a lot more. Some of the items are, like, less frequent. It's tough. Like, it's recommended for your second playthrough. 100%.
Yeah. Apologies, guys, there was no game audio for a moment, but there should be game audio now. Classic Frank memes at the gas station, as always.
Lucky with a shot.
So, if you're not actually familiar with Resident Evil 2 speedrunning, the community has developed a whole series of names for the different zombies in this game that usually contribute to the most frustration for speedrunners. But that bloke in the gas station, his name is Frank, and he's an absolute legend. Actually, he's not. He's quite literally one of the biggest memes in this game.
Especially if you're pushing for a PB, he can end, like, your PB before your run's even, like, started.
Yeah, it's not like, you know, the end of the world if you don't get the quick shot on him, or if you, like, and Leon is notorious for this compared to Claire, you know, getting caught on different objects in the environment and slowing down as a result. Like, if you get caught on that shelf with all of the cardboard boxes on it, when you just after you've grabbed the key, then Frank's going to be in a completely different spot to what he usually is, and so you have to kind of adjust for the shot a little bit. So we've just arrived at the RPD in Raccoon City, which all of the citizens of the city have been told is the safest place to be right now. But as we're about to find out, that couldn't be further from the truth.
I don't know why they would say that this is the safest place. It's destroyed.
It's been completely turned upside down. Some classic dialogue from Leon there. His first, you know, real incredible piece of dialogue in the game. You got this. I kind of wonder how intentional it was to have cheesy dialogue in this game. Whether it was completely unintentional.
Oh, it keeps that B-grade horror aspect to it. It's great.
So, with this bloke on the other side of the door, I'm just going to take this opportunity to turn the game sound just a little bit, because I think it's a bit loud. But with this door here, there's a bloke on the other side of this door, and if you pause the game right at this point, instead of repeatedly banging the door, he'll just bang it once, and then he'll burst straight through. And obviously the in-game timer stops when you pause. It's one of the few moments in the game, aside from skippable cutscenes, where the in-game timer will pause, so pretty obvious optimization there. That's always a pretty gnarly dodge if you get the line a little bit wrong, because then old mate Hideo Kojima will grab you. Every zombie that looks like that guy is Hideo Kojima. And we can't be too hard on him because he's just, you know, created an absolute masterpiece of a video game. But I'm going to be hard on him if he grabs me today. Alright. Now... Alright, that's good. Menuing wasn't a... I was able to actually discard the key without too much frustration. Today...
No, you go, man.
I think, like, probably just going to exercise a modicum of patience when discarding items today, because I've been known to sit there and try and re-discard the same item about 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, menuing's super important. Like, if you can literally save time by getting your menuing like practicing it down and like putting items in specific slots so that you can access it quicker during a run.
Oh, totally.
And you just know that, like, you know, a certain key is going to be in the bottom left-hand corner. If you place it there, like, you can lose like probably over the course of the run, like 1 to 2 minutes with bad menuing.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, RPD 1 is at the start of the game, but I have to say that it is, I think, probably one of the most complicated parts of the run, because there is everything that you need to do. You need to manage more puzzle items than you do at any other part of the game. See you, mate. Gave Frank his just deserves. And also, there's a lot of movement complications. There's a lot of zombie dodges you need to do. It's actually, it's for all those reasons that this is the place where most resets in PB attempt runs happen. You know. So what you go.
It's also like the point where, you know, once you've got your RPD1 down, like, it's also, you know, the place where, you know, as you said, that you would lose a lot of PB runs, but it's also the point where it's the hardest to gain time once you've got it down real quick.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's so early in the game, if you're a reset heavy runner, you are going to optimize this part of the game fairly quickly. For me, like, the only optimizations, like huge time saves that remain in this part of the run would have to be like the menuing for the medallion puzzles, because as you'll see very soon, they can be, you can flip through the symbols on the medallion puzzles up and down, and so if you know going up is faster than going down based on your memorization of the order of the symbols, then you can save seconds. So that is really like one of the last big optimizations in this area for me. So
it's just so hard to remember, like, on top of all the other puzzles and routing and, you know, everything else you have to remember, and it's trying to memorize what possible, like, up and down you have to press for each icon.
There's like, it's like that meme where the brain, oh, hello. Sometimes that cop is there, and sometimes he can be right in front of you, and sometimes he's nowhere near that spot. It's just completely random. It's random enough to call it fairly, like, quite random. Not even, like, there might be a manip for it that I don't know of, but sometimes he's right there in front of you when you go through the door, and sometimes he's not, and he can quite literally end a run. Ooh. Okay. So what I'm trying to do with my inventory is I'm trying to place all of the items that you use for puzzles and whatnot on the left-hand side, in the 4 leftmost squares, because then they're easiest to get to, and then trying to have things like defensive items or weapons or ammo on the right-hand side. And that way I can kind of just spam F when I go to collect an item. Try to dodge this body again. Very nice. There's actually a body hanging from the ceiling there. And if you kind of look at the wall as you brush past it, then Leon won't... Where's Bagels? Right, good. Good boy, Bagels. Good boy. If you kind of brush past that, if you look at the wall as you brush past it, then you won't clip it, and it won't slow you down. Oh my goodness, this game. There we go. And it took about 3 goes. God, bloody those bolt cutters, dude. Oh my goodness. Alright, he's too slow. Where's his mate? Oh, that's right. I crit Marks in the head, so Marks is nowhere to be seen. Very good. That's Mrs. Callahan right there. Mrs. Callahan, lovely lady, and she has been known to absolutely ruin B runs. Because in B, you have to go the opposite direction, the way we're going now. You actually go through the shower room through this door just in front of us. And so Miss Kellybags can sometimes be hiding behind that door. Lovely lady. So we're just going to combine the detonator here and then quickly get out of this room. Hopefully the liquor's good to us. Sometimes the liquor will have a crack at ya. I don't know how I managed to get that first dodge. I'll take the first dodge. A bit unlucky they decided to re-attack so quickly. That's alright.
Yeah, the liquor in that hallway. Like, I've seen some runs where he just magically, like, teleports, like, flying around through a corner.
Yeah, sometimes he'll commit really hard to chasing you, and then sometimes he'll just head straight down to the other end of the hallway as if that's the way you went when you completely didn't. So with this, with these bookcases, you move them to the right once when you first come through here, because when we come back to the RPD later, spoilers, we have to move it again, and the room is a lot more volatile the next time you come through it, so it's always good if you have to move it only twice instead of 3 times. Just saves you potentially getting bitten. Little cheeky hack there, if you go through that door, the bookcase that is to the left of the door we came through won't fall down, and that is a massive, massive time save. There we go.
Especially while you're dealing with the enemies in this room as well.
Oh yeah.
To pick that bookcase back up, it's, you can take unnecessary damage, and you have to sometimes, slightly reroute to pick up a healing item that you necessarily didn't need.
That's that ladder right there. A lot of guys call that the ladder of doom, just because sometimes the zombie that tried to grab me then, plus Eleanor, who was off in the distance, can be standing sort of 2 meters away from the ladder. If they're like 2 meters away from the ladder, then they'll definitely grab you as you get to the bottom, and you kind of forces you to stand or sit on the ladder right before you're grabbable and wait for them to have a crack and then move on. Okay, so time for G1. We've got all the medallions, which means we can head down into this secret compartment that they have in the RPD. And if it sounds weird that a police station has a secret compartment, trust me, it is weird. But little you may or not know, this building used to be an art gallery, so that explains some of its eccentricity. Now, before we do G1, I'm just going to drop the image quality down just a pinch so that I can definitely get 120 frames per second. Thank you, Worster. Cheers for the good luck.
This game, right, there's 2 different categories with 60 FPS and 120 FPS.
Yeah, that's correct. Once people discovered that the damage that the knife does is tied directly to your frame rate, all the guys who officiate the speedruns for this game decided to cap the frame rate just so that, running the game doesn't just turn into an arms race of who can get the highest frame rate. If you YouTube it, you can find people just, turning this boss into red paste in about, 5 seconds. I reckon I'm going to have to strafe around big boy here. Yeah. Unfortunately, I just didn't get my knife angles quite right. But with the strat I've been doing on club key, not because I'm using a flashbang on Misty and the other zombie outside the club key, that'll keep my inventory in order. Not awesome, but we'll make do with it.
Yeah, really unlucky with that grab.
It's alright. I need to kind of work out the exact angle for that knife, because sometimes I get him before he even tries to grab. Sometimes I get him mid-grab animation, and other times he grabs me. But it's not terrible that not having the knife. It actually saves me using it against Misty, or worse, having to discard it.
Yeah, you'll see that, especially in these runs, that we tackle a lot of the bosses purely like using knives and trying to, you know, not use the weaponry available in this game, but instead going mano a mano and knifing them because it's the quickest damage.
Hey,
It's good
I'm
fun.
not done talking to you.
I think it's quite an interesting. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but I think it's cool because it means that you can have routes in this game where, and I'm sure the community would have eventually found a route or a way to do it anyway, without wanting to grab and upgrade all the different weapons in the game. Just being able to kill bosses with knife only means that you can quite literally just get the knife and you don't have to worry about, you know, grabbing the flamethrower if you're playing as Leon, or the grenade launcher if you're playing as Claire. I think it's really, really cool.
And of course, this area is where we first get introduced to the lovely Ada Wong, who, in the story, you know, she's quite mysterious, but seems to be helping Leon. So, I guess in a survival horror situation like this, like, you know, you'll take any help that you could get, especially someone who's, you know, trying to help.
Yeah, she's definitely the third point of the awkward love triangle that's going on in this game between Claire, Leon, and Ada. I like to call it the great Tinder fail of 2019. The interactions that Leon and Ada have throughout this game, but yeah, no, you're right. She's a mysterious individual. We don't quite know her true intentions yet, but we will find out later on in the game. There might be 1 or 2 cutscenes I'll let play through, but I just want to make sure I've got enough time for Tofu, that's all.
Yeah, I mean, well, as you say, you know, this is the worst Tinder fail. This would be the worst Tinder first date. It would be awful.
Yeah.
Hey, love, meet me at the RPD.
It's infested with zombies.
Yeah.
It's better than taking your Tinder date to McDonald's, to be fair. So this is the first interaction as Leon you have with the dogs. This first set of dogs is pretty consistent. Like, as long as you sort of follow the same line, you'd be very unlucky to get bitten by these dogs. It's the next set of dogs after we complete RPD 2 that are very, very random, and no one's really been able to find a manipulation to stop them from just about always biting. But you can make your way through. It's like a 50-50 chance, roughly, whether you'll get bitten by them or not. But the law of averages and odds prevailing, the last run I did before coming into this run here, I got absolutely womboed by all of them. So if all things work out, I shouldn't get bitten too badly. We hope.
Well, you've expended all your bad doggo RNG, so...
Yeah, I've spent it all. It's all gone broke on bad doggo RNG, so we should be sweet here. Alright, so I do the safe dodge here. So you bait this bloke, and then you 180, come around, and then it's just a matter of kind of keeping this second guy stunned, this bloke here. Just give him another cheeky love tap, and then shoot his friend in the face. Put him in his place, and then head on through. Now, I shouldn't need the bullet... I'll grab the bullets that are in the lobby lounge, because I've only got 4 bullets. I'm not going to need to use any bullets up until we encounter the next licker. This bit of the game is... I can get a really good time save here, or it can, you know, go straight down the toilet. So we'll see how it goes. Can be a really, really good split for me.
Yeah, it's this part where, like, because you're, as you said, you're not using ammo, that it does make it a little bit harder, and you need to get really good at your zombie dodging, and you know, you just have to be real accurate with what you're doing, because you don't want to spend the ammo, because then it's using an ammo slot. Oh, sorry, an inventory slot.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think making sure you've got that first slot in your inventory available for the club key, and then shortly thereafter for the jack, is really important, as well as executing 2 manipulations. So we're going to manipulate the licker. We'll do the safe strat here, the flashbang strat. So just throw the flash, flick the lever. These 2 zombies should get stunned, and then we can just squeeze Leon's thick body in between old mate there, straight past Misty. Grab this. Oh, nearly got through the door before it closed. Nearly. Now, we just head straight back up. That's the safe strat. There is a really good dodge that you can do there. If I was doing a PB run, maybe I would consider it. And I can do it like 30% of the time, where you kind of squeeze in between the two of them, and then neither of them can actually grab you, which is really cool. But it's a very, like, if you get that dodge, then you should probably go down to the TAB and put some bets on some horses, because the odds are quite literally in your favour if you get that. Now that's Mr. X. Look, he's no Mike Tyson, but he's a big boy, and so we don't want to spend too much time with him. Delivers the most resounding haymakers, which subsequently completely miss. Now, because I've used that flashbang on the club key, I'm going to grab that one there, which is just going to kind of make up for using the other one. And this is where the game gets, like, this bit right, the next sort of like couple of minutes is pretty, how's your father? I mean, it's a bit how you going, I would say. So we're going to grab these bullets, and we're going to shoot this licker. And what that's going to do to him is it's going to make him, when we exit this next room, he's going to be down the other end of the corridor. Don't ask me how that works or how it was discovered, but if you shoot that bloke and then head in here, he won't be where he was prior. Put the jack in the first slot and then do a quick 180, because we need to get out of this room really quickly so we can take the inline against that bloke. Now, we might not get Mr. X here, but we might get him. We've been reasonably quick, so we might beat him. Okay, we've absolutely blitzed Mr. X. He's nowhere to be seen. I'm just going to turn I've just realised I haven't turned the graphics back up. There we go. Professional streaming. Professional. At 60% resolution scale. Nailed it. Okay. Now, there's one extra manipulation we do here. Just shoot the floor here. And what that does is, there's 3 zombies in this room. That zombie right there, he gets manipulated into going into the other half of the library away from these bookcases. So it just means we're not going to get harassed by him when we're moving them. There is still a chance that either Eleanor or the other zombie could come around, but it looks like they're off in La La Land, so we're going to get a free pass here. Now head up the ladder. And if you're familiar with the library in Resident Evil 2, both the original and the remake, you'll know that a bit of the floor actually breaks around here on this floor. And we're going to use that to our advantage in just a few short moments to quickly get out of dodge.
It's that library, as you're saying, with the zombies, where it's like, you know, you almost have to plan for, you know, that you are going to lose a couple of seconds there just with the zombies, and because you need to get those bookshelves across. And, you know, if you don't have the ammo, or, you know, you can't incapacitate the zombie in any way, you almost have to plan, being like, okay, you know, I have the potential to lose a couple of seconds and maybe grab a backup green herb from somewhere if you want to stay at full health.
Yeah, there's 2 bits of ammo you can grab in the lead up to that section. One's on the barrels just outside the eastern side of the building, and then the other one's obviously on the couch, which is the one that I grabbed, because not only do you need to shoot that licker and shoot the floor, you may also need to shoot potentially up to 3 zombies on the way back down into the car park. You may have to shoot up to 3 zombies, so you definitely want to have a few bullets on you. Mr. X is actually literally right behind me, so we've gotten very lucky here. Usually he will either like cut you off in this room. Oh, right, wait, he's right there. Oh, well done, Mr. X, well done, mate. Oh, what? Hey, look at it this way. At least he threw me the way I was going anyway. A little bit rough, but that's okay. I thought he was up on that top floor with me then. It sounded like he was barreling down behind me. So...
kind of wonky sometimes.
A little bit wonky. I swear it sounded like he was right behind me. But that's okay. What we're going to do is I'm going to do a safe strat here, and I'm going to grab this FAS because I don't want to rely on the dogs to not bite me. There is a FAS in Ben's cell, which is where we're heading, and he's got the card that will allow us to get out of this police station. But I just thought, well, I should probably grab that FAS just in case. So those guys were stacked up, and this bloke's in a really bad spot too, actually. I was going to go for the sneaky slip past him, but it didn't work, and neither did the shot to his head, so I had to 180 him. It's a bit minced. All right, so if we get a free pass from the dogs, that'll be great, but typically you don't. Typically you don't. You'll get bitten by them at least once. And if I get womboed by them, I think I might actually be pretty close to danger. Oh no, I'm pretty high caution at the moment, so Alright. Please don't wombo. Oh, alright. Apparently I haven't expended all my bad doggo RNG today. So this bit here is really, really cool, what we're about to do. I really, really like, after we do this puzzle, there's a really, really awesome little escape strat you can use to get, there's a bunch of zombies that are going to pour out of these cells in a few short moments, and this strat is sick. I love it. It's sick because it basically works all the time, and it just looks really, really impressive. Like, it doesn't actually involve a modicum of skill, just a bit of knowledge, but it looks really impressive.
Yeah, it's also a strat that feels real, like, real nice to do. 'Cause yeah, as you said, it looks real impressive, but as you're doing it, it's, you know, it just feels like real satisfying.
Yeah. Would you say it feels real nice?
It feels real nice, man.
Real nice. Alright, so we shoot this bloke, and then we get a flashbang ready. Well, apparently not. That's it, it did involve a modicum of skill. Oh my gosh, that just went to hell in a handbasket. Oh my god. Oh dear, that's embarrassing. Oh, see you, mate. Yeah, kind of waited a little bit too long to throw the flashbang then. That's okay. So what that means is there's a knife in the sewers. I'm going to have to grab that knife now, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
You know, when something does go wrong like that, you instantly have to think of, okay, so I know I need, you know, X amount of an item, like such as knives that are coming up. So you instantly have to kind of like reroute on, okay, so I need to go get these knives from over here.
I didn't realize you were keeping score.
So, you know, you're gonna have to take the time loss, but, you know, kind of adjust your run on the fly. But you also have to know where all of these items are, so that, you know, if you do expend something, you know where to adjust to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there's, you know, it's, even when you're doing a PB run, there's still sort of leeway, you know, depending on how far along you are in terms of, you know, your progress as a runner of this game. There's always sort of that leeway to grab an extra item just to make up for a mistake that happened earlier. What probably would have been the smart thing to do is just to take the bite from the zombie that grabbed me, and then I'd still have the knife, and then I could have just fast all the way back up, but that's okay. There's always that spare knife down in sewers. It is a bit of a weird knife to grab. It probably loses you about 3 or 4 seconds, because, especially with Leon, in fact, I think Leon might be the only one that can grab it. I don't think Claire gets that knife. I don't know.
From memory, it's been so long since I've done Claire A as well.
Yeah, I haven't run Claire A for months. I've been committed to thick boy % category. Like, he really is, compared to Claire. He's much more of a, he's a bit tankier, doesn't move around obstacles as cleanly, and he's just generally slower. Whereas with Claire, if you ever see anyone speedrun Claire, there's a zombie right at the beginning of the game, and they'll all run up to that zombie and get bitten by that zombie twice. And what that does, it puts us on caution. And Claire runs faster on caution, whereas Leon stays pretty much the same until he gets down to danger, and then he slows to an absolute crawl.
Yeah, it's one of the major differences between the Claire and Leon runs, is that, you know, as you said, you're intentionally taking damage. But then it means, you know, you've got to be a lot more careful around other zombies, and then, you know, if you have to heal, you know, you've got to get back down to that caution, so you've got to purposefully take damage. I mean, that's why I haven't, you know, even looked at a Claire run.
Based on what you've said,
It's always kind of given me a bit of a, like, I've never really wanted to do it because of that, but then when you play as Ada in this, or you play as, you do a Tofu run, because Tofu and Ada and Claire all share the same hitbox, they're all the same size, and you just realise the difference between Hunk and Tofu, because Hunk has Leon's hitbox, and just the dodges that you can do, and you watch the guys speedrun Claire and the dodges that they can do in the exact same spots as Leon, and how different they are and how much faster they are, it makes you want to learn how to run Claire. But Leon's my boy.
Yeah, the Leon run looks more fun.
I reckon the Super Tyrant fight's just a lot of fun, eh?
Yeah, it is.
And especially the optimal way to do the fight is just ridiculous. The last, if you guys haven't seen the last boss fight of this game as Leon A, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, the speedrunning run just takes it into absolutely
if I had a camera running at the moment, I'd be making all sorts of weird faces and carrying on like an absolute headless chook, as I do during this part, because there is absolutely nothing involved in doing this part of the game. You just kind of hold left, hold right, hold left, and that's it.
Hardest boss fight in the game.
And yeah, that's pretty much the croc right there. Super easy, nothing, like there's no way to optimize it, or there's no like speedrun strat for it. It's just...
You overgrown son of a bitch.
Language. Jeez Louise, Leon. Far out, mate. You just go left and then go right. A little bit right again, because he does a second bite, and then go left, and then you just shoot the gas line. The interesting thing, though, is there is obviously knife-only categories for this game, and interestingly enough, that whole category has made a concession that you can't shoot the gas line, but you can throw a grenade at it. That's how they do it in knife-only.
People into monsters.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Fair point. I'm just impressed you made it in one piece.
I guess when you're doing, like, you know, a challenge run like that where, you know, you are using knife only, you know, sometimes, you know, there will be a spot like that where you have to use some form of weaponry, and if a knife doesn't work on the gas line, then you have to make a concession somewhere.
So let me get this straight. Umbrella sells monsters like
I really like to put the camera on Leon's face at this point, because you can see why the characters sometimes turn away from the camera. Like, look at that facial animation. Look at it. How do we go from having Kendo's facial animation, which I should have shown, to this?
That's far more dangerous.
My goodness.
Everyone else is so beautifully animated. And then you get to Leon.
You can run, Annette.
Liqueurs, thanks for the good luck.
Secret weapon time.
Secret meme time. So Ada gets this like cool little gun that she can use to overload mechanical and electronic parts. And there's some techniques with it, like if you spam left mouse button or attack, it will like load up quicker. And also you can see that the wheels actually keep filling even when I let go. So there's kind of like a little strat where, you know, you stop and then apparently you don't finish the fan. Yeah, it's meant to finish, but you can like let go of it and it will complete. So if you can get really good at letting go of the objects early enough, then you can save a lot of time. But obviously I just kind of pushed it a bit too far there. And as far as stair skating, like some people swear by this secret meme weapon that Ada has, and some people don't think there's a difference, but I think it's probably all bit subjective. Just cross that line there, fill that up. Old mate's still getting up. Now, there's going to be a big boy coming around the container here, so it's going to give him a cheeky love tap, and then continue on. And Ada, again, has the same hitbox as Claire, so when you stagger a zombie in this game, it's like a collision box, dynamic collision box that just kind of reduces in size and allows you to sort of squeeze between them and whatever objects are around them. And with Claire and Ada and Tofu, that collision boxes are very, very small. Now, Mr. X makes a brief appearance here, but we're not going to even give him the remotest chance to grab us, because we are out of here.
Yeah, that's about when you do it on a casual playthrough, it's so panic.
Oh, the first... Totally. Because, and like, I mess it up as well sometimes, you know, where you transition from hitting the generator to flicking the lever. Sometimes I do that too quickly and nothing happens, and I like literally my heartbeat goes from about 70 to about 130. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Mr. X is barreling down on the boy. What is going on here? Yeah, so Ada also runs faster in caution. It's the same as Claire, exactly the same as Claire. But she mustn't run fast enough, or there mustn't be a zombie that's positioned favourably enough to make it worth doing in this split, because no one does it. So I don't actually dislike Annette Birkin that much, but what I'm doing is, in this game, there's like a dynamic difficulty system. So depending on how many items and healing, like how many times you've been grabbed, how many healing items you're carrying, the game will dynamically adjust the difficulty. So by emptying out those bullets there, it actually makes Leon's part of the game a little bit easier. So bosses are a bit easier to kill. Bosses are a bit easy to kill, and also zombies are more likely to stagger, which is altogether very, very handy.
Yeah, it's that's another aspect of the run is, you know, trying to manage that hidden value. I mean, you can view it with a SRT, but you know, if you're doing too well, or you know, you're picking up too many items, you know, the game all of a sudden, you know, as it said, like makes the zombies stagger less, which means your run's going to be harder.
Yeah.
Especially when you're relying on a one-tap headshot past some zombies to dodge them.
Yeah, its influence is definitely most obvious in terms of the G fights, and then there's 3 zombies in the labs who, if you have a really high DA, like if you, for example, picking up shotgun shells really heavily influences your DA, that will inflate it really hard. And if your DA is really high, you go down into labs, there's a soldier zombie, and then there's 2 scientist zombies, and you want to get past them fairly quickly by stunning them with a headshot, but if it takes 2 headshots to actually get them, then yeah, it's going to be really, really rough. So try to keep that DA relatively low by minimizing the amount of ammo that you're collecting. And especially doing continues will lower your DA. I never really used to worry about DA until I got an SRT, but now that I can see it, I worry about it. So maybe it's those things that you can see that kind of cook you. So that's the optional knife right there. It's, as you can see, it's a little bit out of the way. You kind of got to... And also Leon has a lot of trouble grabbing it up because he doesn't clean his hands after he eats big, juicy Big Macs. His hands are very slippery, so he has trouble grabbing it. It's probably about 3 to 4 seconds grabbing that knife, but because I gave myself a one-way ticket to Snap City getting out of the jail, I need to grab it. So that right there, that is a G adult, also known as the aftermath of KFC in my parts of the internet. But those things on your first playthrough, if you're doing a blind playthrough of this game, they will literally upset you, because until you kind of know how to deal with them, they really do cost you a lot of defensive items, a lot of knives, flashbangs, grenades, etc. But once you kind of learn how to deal with them, they're not too bad. They're really not too bad. So if you shoot them before they can see you, like if they can't see you and they get shot, then they freak out and they submerge. And then there's also a couple of different techniques you can use to dodge their different attacks if they have seen you. There's a really large room in this part of the game where you need to deal with 3 of them, and you'll see if we get like medium or bad, even bad RNG, you'll see the different strategies that you have to apply to take care of them.
Yeah, it's also if you start running this game as well, I feel it's one of the most like things you need to know is how to manipulate the GLs in that room. Like you can lose so much time, you can lose your run there. You know, as you said, a lot of defensive items that you're gonna need for upcoming fights. It's super important to learn how to just manipulate them, you know, make them easy to deal with. Like once you know how to deal with them, they're not a problem. But
oh, totally. Once you kind of, it's like this game is, again, very just heavily based on knowledge and understanding of where to go, what items you need for different parts of the game, and also knowing how to avoid attacks. Because it's like you have a budget in this game of I can get grabbed so many times, and if you can avoid getting grabbed, that's great. But if you don't have to go through an area to even risk getting grabbed, that's even better. So first time playthroughs of this game tend to be very, very rough and very quite difficult. And I recommend it. Like if you've never played the game, I really don't recommend just learning the speedrun route straight away. Like literally play the game casually and just enjoy it. You know, it is a fantastic game to play even without speedrunning. I think you kind of lose some of the magic or, you know, some war stories from playing this game if you don't, if you just speedrun it straight away.
And after your first casual playthrough, even if you're looking at learning to speedrun it, give hardcore a playthrough as well. Like, it will help your speedruns as well, because you, like as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream with hardcore, you can't afford to get grabbed by zombies. So it teaches you that early on, which coming down to a speed run, as you said, you've got a budget of how many times you can get grabbed. So if you can avoid it and learn it in hardcore, you're taking their budget elsewhere.
Nearly completely minced Hideo Kojima and Bagel's identical cousin, but we made it through. With plenty of bullets to spare as well, I might add. It's talking of war stories, when this game first came out, a good friend of ours, Iceman, who speedruns Metal Gear Solid, decided that he would be the big boy in town and play the game Leon A Hardcore blind, and I think he probably spent about a week in this part of the game. Like, that's just how rough it is. It's just so rough. Like, I think he got to G1 and he didn't have, like, any shotgun shells whatsoever. And it's just a testament to how hard the game actually is on hardcore. It's really, really hard if you don't know exactly what you're doing. So that second G-Adult, like the first G-Adult, you just shoot him, he's submerged in the water, but that second one, you need to shoot him kind of before he actually manages to see you, because if he doesn't see you and you shoot him, he'll just go straight down into the water, and then that's a big time save because you don't need to do a 180 dodging an attack or anything weird like that. You can just walk straight through. This room right here is a lot of fun because it's a very small room. It's a very small amount of time you spend in here, but you actually it involves a lot of movement and also inventory management. Like those two, that queen chest piece right there, that plug, I'm trying to keep that in the topmost leftmost portion, and then the king piece, which I just picked up, I'm trying to keep that in the second row first column. So just keep them like that because we're going to use them both in quick succession right here. And then we're also going to use them again in quick succession in a couple of minutes. So you want to keep them in a good spot, and then quick 180 there. And then just grab that, another 180. Make our way carefully around here, because Leon will get caught on everything. And then another 180, and then straight up the stairs. Really, really cool room.
Yeah, it's a good spot to practice your inventory management as well.
Yeah, just like keeping in mind, like where different things are. Now, I think that the first G-Adult is just around this mound, so I'm going to try and hug this. Okay. Oh, wow, that is very lucky. Okay. So, lately with that first one who went... They can either do a couple of attacks. They can either go for a grab attack, or they start to shoot out little G-Adult babies. And if they shoot out the little G-Adult babies, then generally speaking, you want to actually go to the right of them. And then you'll slip straight through, because otherwise there's a chance that they can hit you with the little tentacle that shoots out the G-Adult babies. But I got really lucky there, and I was quick enough to get through before he did the swing attack. Otherwise, I'll do a grab. If they do the grab, then you have to move up to them, bait them into doing the grab, and then do a 180, and then head straight back in. Okay, now Bagel's cousin is right in front of me, which is good, because otherwise sometimes he can be on the stairs. Bagel's granddad is right behind me, and Hideo Kojima is contemplating his design decisions for Death Stranding off in the distance, so... They're all rattled, and we just walk straight through. Well done. Yeah, just G-babies. G-babies, Mango.
Yeah, that was a real clean room.
Yeah,
Where the zombie placement was.
Yeah, really, really, really good zombie placement then. So this is just queen first. Then you grab the bishop. And then you put the king in where the bishop was. And then we're going to grab the knight first. We're going to put the rook where the knight was. And then we're just going to F the bishop into the wrong slot and put the knight where the knight needs to go, and then the bishop. Okay, now this is usually where my runs end up in a reset or a continue, and in fact, like a lot of top runners, runs generally come to a grinding halt at this point in the game. Did you want to talk a little bit about G2 and his giant memes?
Yeah, so this fight is probably one of the harder bosses that you'll come across, purely because of the whole mechanic of it. So when you're playing this game casually, what you want to be doing is damaging the boss while you're waiting for a massive container to swing to the other side, and then you're pressing a button that allows the container to come back. And if you've done enough damage to him, you'll knock him off first try. But then, so in the speed run, because we only use we're pretty much only using knives on this guy. You have to make sure that you're landing all the hits. You know what attacks he's about to do because he does a couple of attacks. So you have to be able to read the attack. You have to be able to bait it, and then knife him to the point where you've done enough damage to get the one cycle with a container. But like if you miss something, you miss one knife, you don't do enough damage to him in a certain phase, you down. Like you can just lose runs real easily here.
Now, typically there's two phases to this encounter. There's a phase in this room where he breaks the ceiling and tries to hit you through the holes in the ceiling that he creates. But there's a strat where you can skip that entirely by throwing a grenade where his invisible hitbox has been suspended. So you've got to time the grenade pretty much bang on. But it'll do about 5% damage to him, which will force him into this phase. So this is really minced this whole bit of the game, but I'll give it a shot. Come on, mate, do an attack. Come on. Alright, so it's going to go for the 3-banger, which means we get time. He does a 3 combo, which gives us time to collect that. That's a bit unlucky. I have the herb though, so alright, cool. Please stun. There we go. Alright, good. So now we've got him into this stun phase, we're just going to knife him. And I'm just going to keep knifing him until he gets to 50% health, which I can see on an SRT. Okay, he's nearly there. Couple more. Yep, bang, done. So now we bring this in. And get hit in the face. We should be able to get out of here in time, though. And that is G2. Good thing I grabbed that herb. So what I'll do is I'll actually grab the red herb as well, just as a little cheeky safety strat. It's always good when you can one-cycle him. It's a nice little confidence boost. Sometimes it's better to just stand there and take the hit if it means he's going to stay in position long enough for you to have him in position for the container to hit him. But it's a rough fight and a lot of guys reset on it. But yeah, it's good to get it one cycle. Feels good.
Yeah, that was a very nice. Apart from that hit, that was a good G2.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the splits. I only lost 5 seconds, which is pretty good.
Just do it. I can't walk like this.
That fight cooks me so much.
Okay.
I don't know, like I understand the strat, but executing it as well, like you've got to practice that. It's one of the fights that you really need to practice till you can get a consistent one cycle in.
It's not a complicated fight. It's just a very punishing fight if it goes pear-shaped, because the container. Obviously, if you're standing in the path of the container, then it's going to be lights out pretty much. So you want to position G2 exactly where that container is going to be, but not be there yourself. So, real nice.
Yeah, if you're first learning this game as well, in that room where we get those first 2 chess pieces at the end of the G adults, you can take the time loss and go and get the flamethrower, which does take up 2 inventory slots, but it does make that fight a little bit easier if you're not confident on knifing him, but it is definitely a slower strat.
What's your step?
Yeah, I reckon that the time's probably okay. It's just that extra bit of time from having to probably get a pouch or not carry certain other items, because I think your inventory would be maxed out otherwise.
Yeah, it's because of the 2 item slots. It does mean that, like, if you lose a knife or you lose a grenade, that's real hard to manage the inventory back. And it also would increase your DA as well.
Yeah, I reckon that's probably the big one, is the DA hit. Now, is Ada going to let me in first, Syntha?
I think so. I think she's going to be nice to you today, man.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Bang. Sometimes you can get in before Ada gets in. Otherwise, she pushes you out. Which is, it's a bit of a time loss, but that's all right.
I had a little bit of a word with her beforehand. I was just like, you know what? Let him go first this time.
All right, that wristband's in a good spot this time, at least. I've been, like, back and forth on where I should put that wristband, because it is a key item and you do interact with it quite a bit, but you don't actually directly use it on any objects in the game world. Like, you don't open up the inventory to use it, because, you know, Leon's wearing it on his wrist and it's a proximity based thing. It just works. Must be an Apple product, it just works. So, oh, I've got a lot of bullets. That's not good. Get rid of some of those bullets. That's a little bit better. So again, just trying to manage the amount of ammo that I'm carrying, just so my DA doesn't get too out of control. Now there's a little cheeky grenade over here, so we grab that. That grenade will come in handy very, very soon, in terms of clearing out a very, very messy room. It's kind of remarkable. You know, obviously this game has been distilled down to a certain set of steps, but I think getting to this point, all those early guys who, you know, really blazed all those trails did a really remarkable job in terms of just trying out different combinations of items and whatnot.
Yeah, huge shout out to those guys. Like making it.
Waifu, Fortune, Bork, Trey, Maxi Lobes, all those guys like did such a fantastic job optimizing this game for, you know, plebs like us to just come through and you know, feel good about ourselves playing this video game.
Yeah, like, I mean, even down to the point of where the community is, you know, writing like real detailed guides, and where you can literally follow it step by step, so you can learn the run and adjust. Like, you know, obviously you've got to make slight adjustments to what happens in the game, but you know, to that point where you're like, I have to go from here to here, and it's just real well detailed. Like, makes getting into running this game like less daunting.
Yes, yeah, I almost think it's like when you're doing RPD is so confusing the first time you do it, and then you realize you're basically just doing 2 figure eights, or just about like 2 laps of the station, really. And it really makes it make so much more sense the way that it's laid out. But sewers is still like, even though sewers in the speedrun route is really straightforward, it's still such a complex area. I think anyone's first playthrough of this game, sewers is just like the part of the game that is seared into their mind, if anything.
Yeah, it gets royal confusing because a lot of the places look very similar. So as you're trying to think of like, okay, so I need to go get this item to go back here, but you're just thinking of the like little fire hydrant-y thing you put the T-tool into, but they all look the same, and all the areas they in look the same. So it's real hard to like remember. But play this game casually, it's fantastic.
Get this game.
It's on sale at the moment too.
I heard that there was a bit of a leak this morning about RE3 being a little bit more confirmed, the remake being confirmed to some extent. I haven't read into the exact details, which it's always dangerous to do that, but that's what I heard. But we all knew that was going to happen. Like, if you saw how successful this game was, I think this game sold like 5 million copies or something. Like, it was huge.
Yeah, for a few Game of the Year awards too.
Did really, really well. So, you know, and I think the fan base, you know, pretty much asked for it. Now, as simple as this puzzle is, I need to concentrate quite a bit, because messing it up is like, it's so simple, and then when you mess it up, you feel really bad. But thankfully, I haven't messed it up. It's just red, green, blue, red, green, blue, red, green. That's literally the solution.
Yeah, it's another one of those puzzles that, if you don't know the simple solution like this, you can spend 10 minutes on this.
Oh.
So easy.
I don't even want to talk about how much time I spent in the plug room in the sewers. I reckon I spent about half an hour in there at least. I'm not even kidding, and we just did it in like 50 seconds. Like, what? So that's an Ivy, which is a specific type of zombie that Umbrella has been creating. And if you shoot them in their weird little yellow growths, they stagger the same way a zombie does when shot in the head. That Kobe Bryant maneuver right there, that is just a typical strat to kill all those zombies before we come back to this room later on, because we will come back to this room. And we don't want to have those 3 zombies barreling down on us, because we will also have 2 lickers barreling down on us.
Yeah, Like if you didn't know about that grenade strat, that room is an absolute nightmare.
Oh, it's horrible. It is the stuff of nightmares, quite literally. Now, hopefully I can get rid of these 3 extra bullets that are in my inventory by shooting these blokes. We'll see how we go. Yep, there we go. Missed. It's a blessing sometimes when you miss a shot, because then you can clear up a slot in your inventory. Now, this is the sort of stuff you have to meditate on top of a mountain for 27 hours for to deal with. Okay, I probably should have waited about an extra second for that second licker to jump up on the wall, on the roof, but that's okay. We should be all right because I'm going to grab the herb. I should have room for the herb. Yes, I do. Excellent. So we're going to grab this herb. I'm going to use this half-busted... Oh, apparently I'm going to use a flashbang. Okay. That's unfortunate. At least I've got the herb. Hopefully we don't get sent back to Memesville by these blokes. I've still got this half-busted knife, which I do need to get rid of.
New messages.
Losing that flash is a bit significant, but it's okay. That's fine.
Yeah. There is another one you can pick up, but it's really out of the way.
Cooling complete.
Try and hold on to this herb because I might get lucky, and even if I don't get a little bit of luck with these lickers and I do get grabbed, I still have this half broken knife, so I can use that to get out of dodge. Okay, alright, I think I've actually... it's going to be close. Yep, no. Got super lucky then. I don't know what that second licker was doing. He was just contemplating the meaning of life, and there we go. Now, what's old mate doing? Okay, so this is a good RNG. If that bloke is down in the corner there, you're pretty much home and hosed. You can just walk straight through without having to shoot anyone. And better remember to put the solution in. Always helps.
Dispensing.
And this gives us access to the level 3 wristband, which is good.
You have dispersed a dangerous solution without authorization. Your action.
Yeah, so just grab this guy right here, and then our best mate, old mate Mr. X, is going to make an appearance, but we're not going to stick around to say g'day to him, naturally. And we also have all these ivies are starting to stand up again after they've been sprayed with about 14,000 litres of mortine. So we can't stand to deal with them anyway, so we've got to get out of here. We're just going to have the shotgun ready, just in case we get really bad ivy positioning here, but we've been given the good RNG, so we can pretty much walk straight through. If that first ivy is in that back corner, you can just walk straight through. No problem at all. And there's also another herb here, so I might just grab that. Bind those two together.
With those IVs as well, if you get real bad luck with the lickers and you haven't cleared out those zombies, and if you find yourself without ammo, it's pretty much end of your run there. Because if you can't deal with those IVs and you get bad positioning, it's end of run.
They're not like the most, like, they're more aggressive than your standard zombie, but they're not like the most aggressive mobs in the game, so you can try to 180 juke them, but there is the chance that they will try to double grab, and if they double grab after your 180 juke, then they will send you back to Snap City, basically. Just gonna grab this grenade that's here. I've got 2.5 knives, so we should be good for G3. See how we go. And that is not what I wanted to do, but that's okay. Classic signal modulator. Well done. There we go.
The signal modulator is another one of those puzzles that, you know, it's been whittled down to absolute simplicity, but on your first playthrough, you can spend so long just trying to match up these lines.
Oh, totally. It literally, the first combination is SSSD on WASD, and then the second combination is just AS. So it's, if you can keep that combination in mind, it's a pretty straightforward puzzle. You just need to you need to have fingers that obey your commands. So now we're going to be getting ready for G3. which is the final G confrontation for Leon in the run. I will leave the viewers who haven't seen this game to speculate over what the final confrontation might be. But again, just going to drop the res scale, make sure we get 120 frames per second, and then we're going to send old mate. We're going to literally cut holes in old knife through just hot butter, mate. Work around the back here. Okay. It's a good shot, actually. And that's going to be enough to stun old mate. That's really, really good. And then we're just going to start knifing him. Like a hot knife through butter. Literally, old mate is just getting sent to Memesville right now. Now, if you're a really, really good speedrunner, you can do a quick bit of menuing there to avoid that animation interrupting your knife slashing.
Yeah, it's also with this fight.
You're gonna have to back up a little bit here.
When you're first knifing him, you knife the back because you deal less damage. You can deal more damage to him before he gets up. But if you go straight for the eyes, he just gets up quicker, so you can deal more damage by knifing the back of the body.
It's a bit unfortunate. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, at least I've still got this half-broken knife. Oh my gosh, this is one of my messiest G3s in a long time. Oh no. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a fight that can get it under control.
Oh no.
So well.
Okay, alright, I'm gonna have to grab the FAS. Because otherwise I'm gonna be too slow to dodge all of the Ivies on the way to like the last few sets of hoops. Oh my gosh, that was such a messy G3.
Yeah,
but it's all good.
When it's in control, you know, you can nail it.
Yeah.
But the second you lose control of it, it can just go, tits up.
Straight to meme.
So bad.
Straight to Memesville. But at least we got plenty of bullets and we're fully healed up. I will have to grab the knife and I will grab the FAS before Mr. I don't want to ruin the surprise. But I will grab the knife and the FAS right before the final boss fight. And this is like, at this point, like the run is basically, like there's very few things that can upset the run at this point. So it's kind of like a little formality or victory lap, if you will. That was such a messy G3. I'm gonna go wash my hands after that. Definitely gonna have to wash the hands.
You recovered it. At least you didn't have it continue.
Yeah, that's true. I think what I messed up was instead of using what I could have done to fix that was use the knife with full durability as he was transitioning, rather than having the half broken one be the one that gets used, because I just couldn't do any damage to him as he was moving across. So because we want to definitely not get sent to Snap City, we're just going to grab that FAS, and then we have to grab this knife because we don't have any knives left over. If you're playing exceptionally well, then you might have like half of a knife left over, and then you don't have to grab that knife, but that knife, we need that knife. Okay, so quick little manip there. That'll make that Ivy turn away, and then we don't have to waste time shooting him in any of the growths on his chest. This one up further ahead though, you kind of have to shoot him, because there's literally no way to dodge him unless you want to take your time, which you know, would slow us down. Now, I have managed to cook this dodge about 5 out of the last 6 runs that I've done. So let's see how we go. Very good. Excellent. That's what I like to see, Leon. Well done, mate. Top-notch effort.
It's one of those dodges that makes you feel so superhuman.
Oh,
When you can nail it. Makes you feel like a badass.
It's actually ridiculous. We don't need the graphics down for this fight, so I'm going to leave it up. It's such a good dodge. And you do it to him in the RPD, and you just feel like a god. Because he's just absolutely brought in the biggest haymaker that he possibly can, and he just walks straight through it. Let these cutscenes play, because that'll work out really nicely with the time.
Yeah, they're cool cutscenes. Real fitting finale to the. Sadly, you know, we don't see much of the story in the run, but when on a casual playthrough.
Gotta keep going.
Is that Thanos? It's his distant cousin. It's his distant cousin. Really, really cool thing if you're not familiar with Resident Evil games, but like they will pretty much always give you an item that you have to pick up in order to start the boss fight that clears up your inventory, and it's for a good reason, as you will soon see.
Yeah, the game design, like just the thought of, you know, the thought that goes into it, you know, to make sure that you've got the space and stuff is, it's top notch. Well done.
Oh, it's like a game. That's the way that like inventory management is a big part of the design of the game. So it's just so cool to see something that is usually just, you know, an afterthought. It's such a core part of this experience. So with this boss fight, you just walk up, right, and you knife old mate, and then he staggers, and then you stand here, and then you knife him again, and he staggers again. You stand here, dance around him, and he's gone for the big wombo combo, so you give him a bit of breathing space. Okay, couldn't quite get the stagger then, but there's the third stagger. Now, literally, this is the boss fight, and it's just so much fun. Like, look at him go, look at him go. Look at him, look at him, he thinks he's bloody Mike Tyson. Oh, well done, mate, yeah, well done. Okay, now you gotta quickly reposition if he goes for the big one. Now, the only thing you got to be careful with is whether he tries to break the rocks, because if you're too close to him when he breaks the rock, it will actually stun you, and that can throw off your rotation quite a bit. But if you just stand on his non-evolved arm, I think he might be breaking the rock, so I'm just going to give him a bit of space there. All right, just reset the rotation again. Just doing the tango with the big boy. It's like, he must get so frustrated. Can you imagine how he must feel right now?
Like, to the point where, you know, he's got this massive flame arm and you're just absolutely trivializing the fight.
Well, I guess what he doesn't realise is that Leon was originally in the Backstreet Boys, so he knows how to dance, mate. That's what he doesn't get.
Yeah, here's the sixth member that you didn't know about.
Okay, so the rocket launcher, a mysterious figure gives us the rocket launcher from out of nowhere. So we quickly juke him, grab the rocket launcher, and then that's it. Mr. X's say la vie. Adios.
And time will be coming up very shortly.
You have arrived at the bottom level.
All right, and yeah, it's pretty much like a cheeky lap over to the train here. We've got time to watch the cutscene, so we'll let that play out. Pretty much time, by the way. Not that I'm not so sure that we're keeping track of that, but we'll get the in-game time pretty soon anyway. Which isn't a bad time. It's not an amazing time. It's not a terrible time.
Yeah, it was a good. You made up for your G3 with your Tyrant.
Yeah, Tyrant's gotten really good lately. It's just G3. I can literally get a 45-second time save on G3. It's, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun run.
Actually miss her.
I think when you first learn to do it, like wow, when we first started it, you know, you get a time of like an hour and a half, hour 20, and then it's just you're able to, you know, the more you play it, you'll start to see those time saves, and it just addicts you. Like it's such a fun game. Such a good run.
When you get around to that 1 hour mark and you're back, you start another run and you're back in the RPD, and it felt like 5 minutes ago that you were at this point in the game. it's pretty remarkable feeling. You're like, wow, I can complete this game so quickly. It's immense. But yeah, that is pretty much the run. We'll check out the in-game time, and then we'll start making preparations to hand over to Clone of Shade and Drazard, who will be playing Resident Evil 6, doing new game co-op on PC, Leon campaign. So it'll be a co-op speedrun. It'll be 2 players playing. So if you want to see more Resident Evil action, be sure to stick around for that. So there's the in-game time, 57.56. It's not a bad time. My PB is 57.11, but obviously G3 was and G2 were a bit difficult, but that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Just want to give some big shout outs to some donations. We got one donation from the Rad of the Shaz. What an absolute legend. Absolute legend. Literally a legend of Resident Evil speedrunning. Donated $11.21. Good luck at G2 Devo. Thank you. I think that was what contributed to pushing old mate, no pun intended, over the edge. And Mr. Foxhand coming in hot with it at $21.42. Cost you money, Devo. Exactly, mate. 100%. And earlier we also had a donation from Bakuman84 who gave $6. A big hug to all of Australia's speed friends and my friends. I'll send a lot of strength to what's happening in there. Thank you, Bakuman. Much appreciated for all the people affected in New South Wales and Queensland. Again, an awesome event. Big shout out to Nay and everyone involved in Aussie Speedruns for giving me a chance to help contribute today. I really do appreciate it. So that is going to be the boy signing out. Thank you so much again. Take care, guys, and be sure to stick around for Clone of Shade and Drazard's run of Resident Evil 6. Thank you again.